they're questioning the guy who came out and said, I have testimony from the president. He was a little befuddled and seemed like a nice old man with a bad memory. They're now saying that he did that to hurt Biden's credibility. And they're doing it by saying, remember when they said that he couldn't remember when Beau died? He didn't even know when his son died. Okay, that's what the left is saying. That's not true. He did, and they're releasing. It was 2015 from President. That they have that in the transcript,
which is part of the transcript.
Yeah, it was 2015 when your son. It was 2015. Okay, just that line. Stu, do you care to read the previous lines?
Oh, I'd love to. You mean like when he says, well, this is what, 2017, 2018 in that area? Remember, in this time frame, my son is either been deployed or is dying in 2017 or 2018, he says.
Okay.
Then the White House lawyers correct him and say, no, it was 2015, 2015. Biden says, oh, was it 2015 he had died? Yes, it was May of 2015. Then Biden says, it was 2015. That's where they pick up the transcript.
That's crazy.
They pick it up after he says 2018 was maybe the time.
Skip to the part where he doesn't know when he was vice president.
Somebody must have been packing this up and put it in a box because I didn't do it. And Hur says, okay, do you have any idea where this material would have come from and where it got moved into the garage? Biden says, well, if it was 2013, when did I stop being vice president? Lawyer says 2017. Oh, so I was vice president. It must have come from vice president stuff. That's all I can think of. Another section, Biden says, my problem was I never knew where any of the documents or boxes were specifically coming from or who packed them. Just did I get them delivered to me? So I'm at this stage in 2009. Am I still vice president? His question.
Am I still vice president?
In 2009. Now, you might remember him beginning his time as vice president in 2009. He's asking, was I still vice president in 2009?
Yeah, he's not saying, was I vice president yet?
Right.
Which he should know. He's asking if he's still the vice president in 2009.
It would have been better if he said, was I vice president yet? But it's like everyone, Barack Obama, 2008 election. Like everyone would know that. Everyone knows. You might know that, but that's not necessarily what Biden knew. He actually talked about Trump being elected in November of 2017 because he didn't know it was 2016 or 2017. But I will say this article from the New York Times does summarize it well, that he was clear-headed most of the time. Now, first of all, is that the standard that we're looking for in a president?
No. Do you get a driver's license if you're coherent or clear-minded most of the time?
Now, first of all, no. But do you want a president who's clear-headed most of the time? And is it part of is that the standard we're looking for? Like, hey, most of the time he's coherent? Like, no. And then the evidence, though, is dramatic. And I will say this, Glenn. The evidence they present that he was clear-headed most of the time is convincing. It will persuade you that he's fine. Here it is. When Mr. Biden provided a lengthy description of the layout of his house in Delaware, Mr. Hur observed that Mr. Biden appeared to have a photographic understanding and recall of his house.
Oh, of his house.
So he remembered what his house looked like, which proves he was clear-headed and most of the time.
And photographic memory. I got to tell you, he's lived in that house for how many decades?
Many.
Yeah, many decades.
Thousands? I don't know.
And I've lived in my house for under a decade, and I got to tell you, sometimes I walk around and I'm like, where's the bathroom?
Right, who could know?
And I lift up the seat of the couch, and I go to the bathroom there, and my wife says, what are you doing? And I'm like, what, is this not the bathroom? Is this not the toilet seat? And she's like, no, it's the living room. And I'm like, I can't tell the difference. I get lost. I don't know.
It happens to people all the time. The other day, I just heard this knocking over and over again. My wife was just walking into the wall over and over and over again, thinking there was a hallway there, but actually, no, there was
hallway.
A wall.
Wow,
yeah, and it's just typical for people to do that.
Well, you don't have a photographic memory, and neither do I.
I don't. How could you?
Usually,
apparently,
the average person needs a map for their own house.
Do you actually get credit for remembering what your house looks like now? That's where the media is. The media's like, hey, he did a great job remembering his own home.
They were kept there in the garage, which is right off the kitchen.
But again,
Wow.
Does he have a photographic memory of his own house? He didn't know any of these documents were there. Of course, now we know he did know they were there, but he didn't know what was in the boxes. So that's not really a photographic memory even of his own house.